Today what we're going to be talking about is how to create a successful blog post, how to write it out, and we're going to go through the step-by-step process. I'm going to actually show you in a blog post that I've just written recently, and you're going to see all the different components that go into how to put a blog post together, how to structure it, some of the components that are going to help you to optimize it, and you can actually start to use some of the strategies that I made reference to in the Google keyword search. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to log into my back office, into my WordPress, one of my WordPress sites, and let's see, we're going to go down here, and I'm going to open up this one. So what you're going to do first of all, and remember one of the things that I mentioned in a previous training for using that tool, Advanced Marketing Institute. So the first steps you're going to do, and everybody has a little bit different routine how they go about it, but what I do is I start with what is my primary keyword. So what I've selected as my primary keyword here is right here, the two words entrepreneur mindset. So I've chosen that. So as I indicated in the previous training on keyword search, I typed in entrepreneur mindset and I've come up with a number of other words that are going to be this three secondary keywords along with the one primary keyword. And right here you've got entrepreneur mindsets, the primary. These are the tags that you're going to use, and I'll show you this is all part of your SEO portion of it. So you're becoming an entrepreneur, entrepreneurial ideas, entrepreneurial skills, because what you want to do is your secondary keywords, as mentioned, need to be related to the primary keyword, so and the more articles you write like that are going to be listed, and it's going to be congruent with the theme of what your website is all about. Like for instance, if you're writing about landscaping, you're not going to be doing a blog post on entrepreneurship. So it has to be congruent. So that's one of the things but that's already been discussed in your blog. Setting up the blog and for now with your blog posts. So we're going to here what I did was I created a title, and before I write out notes, my primary and my secondary. Now some of you might need to write different notes, and of course I've been blogging for a few years now, and everybody starts in a different place. And when I first started, I can actually show you an old blog post, and it was actually it's nothing compared to what I've been able to do now with the right mentorship and practice, lots of practice here. So I've taken the title and I put it into that Advanced Marketing Institute to make sure that I've got at least my 33 1/3% ranking for the because I want to make sure that there's some emotional stimulus, for people to want to open this up and read it. Because remember, just like an email, your headline, your subject line for your title is the same thing. It serves as, is that compelling for people to open up? So this is like the back of your WordPress site. So I've gone ahead and I put this in here because I'm definitely above. I think this one was about 50%. And you go down to the bottom Now I have the plugin Yoast SEO, which is going to give you a ranking for page analysis, and you've got your this automatically snippet preview automatically comes up once you type in your title, and when you put in your meta description down here, which you should do, like there's not a lot of SEO in this, but what happens is when this shows up on Google, your title and your meta description is actually going to show up. So you want to try to put as interesting of a meta description, and that's going to come up as the snippet preview. And when you're posting images on social media and other places, then it's going to be attached to your title. So the better you write it, the better off you are. So I'm going to type in focus keyword. I enter that right after I've done my title, entrepreneur mindset, and then I go back up, and what you're going to have above is you're going to see in here under publish, you're going to see the word save. So you're going to keep saving that. So just one word of caution every time that you're doing a blog post, because I write mine right in here into the back of the blog. I don't write it out first. So every time that you need to go off page for any reason to embed an image or anything like that, then what you want to do is you want to make sure that you click save it. Now these do automatic updates, but I mean sometimes you just get into a groove and you've written something really well, and if you don't click save, it may not save exactly that. It might have saved it a couple minutes earlier, so you want to always make sure that you save it every single time. And in the case of this, after I've written it out, if I ever want to go in and make any changes, anything you do before you go off page for any reason, then you want to click update. So I've chosen the category for this to go in, so I've clicked that off. That's going to be business tips, and depending on the theme of your site, what you're writing about, you always want to choose a category. Just don't leave it as like uncategorized for your article. So when you start to write, remember the first line is like the subject line for your first paragraph. You want to make that as interesting and compelling as possible too, because people are going to see that on your blog. They're going to see your title, you're going to see the snippet of your prefix, and then you're going to see a little snippet of the very first paragraph. So you want to write something here that's also going to be compelling people to continue to read on. Now as you can see right here, here's your toolbar that you're going to be using for links and for your heading. And here when you want to add media, which is just embedding images here. So the very first title is going to be an H2, and H2 is basically that's your title tag. So as you can see here, you've got 1, 2. 1 would be your kind of like your title for your blog post. H2, which I only use one of, and then you can write out your paragraphs. Now don't write long lines. As you can see here, what I've done is I stop and I create a space and I go down, because you want people to be able to read it. Because the way that most people read is from left to right, and if they have to go too far with their eyes, now this is going to show a little bit different, and I'll go show you the view post in a minute, but you want to make sure that people are not going all the way across the page and you can continuing, because if it's all one big jammed up paragraph, then people are not going to read it. And it's already challenging enough to get people to read your text nowadays, because there's so many videos and images and things like that make people just want. And what a lot of people are going to do is they're going to skim over. In a lot of cases, they're not going to read every line and everything, because remember something, One of the things that is important for your website, and when you're doing a blog post, is that people, your bounce rate, which means that people going on the site, if they click on your post, page views, the time on site, these are critical things. So it's really important to get the first part of it the more compelling as you possibly can, because that's going to keep people on your site and on your page and hopefully going to another page. And if you go down here, you're going to see that I've embedded images, so I've stopped this paragraph here. So I've gone out and I've pre-selected some images. You want to make sure is with your images that you're going to select, depending on where you go. There's a site called Canva where you can get cheap images and a lot of free ones. Google Images you have to be very careful of. If you do happen to grab them, make sure that there is no signature at the bottom that's embedded into it when you pre-select it, like when you're going to save it. You just want to make sure that there's no name, or there's no other domain name or a personal name that's attached to it. So you want to have something that's totally neutral. So what you're going to do is you're going to go Entrepreneur Mindset. I'm going to actually go in and I'm going to show you how to do that and as far as an empty blog page is concerned. I'll show you that in a minute. So then you're going to go down, then you can name your second heading. You're going to go up here and you're going to choose H3. This is like an H3 size. And you never want to use more than 3. And one of the things that you want to do, now I know that there's not much SEO that's being emphasized on it, but as you can see here, I do have the primary keyword here. You can use your primary and your secondary keywords in H2 and H3 and H4. So you don't want to use any more than 3 headings at H3, and then you go 4 for H4 and then down to H5. So when you're doing this, then you just keep on with your paragraph. And one of the things that you're going to learn to do, and it does take time, and just give yourself some time to practice this. You want to create a flow to the information, and one of the ways that you can determine that is when you start to write out a paragraph, and you can go down here at the bottom and you see here in this plugin, which is Yoast SEO, which most people have. This is the general reading of this, which gives you your focus keyword, your SEO title, meta description. Meta keywords I don't even bother with, because there's nothing that's really SEO centric on that. That's not going to give you any more points from Google, or for like that used to be, but not now. It doesn't work. So we're going to click on page analysis, and as you can see here, it gives you your SEO score. For the most part, you want to have this part here also shows up right up here at the top on the right hand side, where the SEO, it shows up as a good score, and you can check that, which is going to show up as the bottom. That's green. That's what you want to get. I mean, ideally that's the it gives you a bit more SEO ranking as far as your the post that you've concerned, as you've written out. The copy scores here 65.8. Now in this plugin they have what is called a flesh reading ease test. I don't fully understand. I've gone through it and read through it, but for the most part you're going to find out from feedback from people that put comments and from read your blog posts, and when you go back and kind of read it, you're going to get an idea. Does it flow? Does the information make sense, or is it kind of jumping all over the place? And so here I've got a 65.8 score, which is considered okay to read. Anything 60 and above, you don't have to be too concerned about. You always use the keyword in the title, which is going to become the URL for this page. Now the keyword key phrase appears in 1 out of 7 subheadings. Now see, this is not a major ranking factor. This is beneficial. The images on this page contain alt tags. I'm going to go through and I'll give you a demonstration like on a blank page, like on another post. The keyword appears in the first paragraph of the story. Keyword density, which is you want to keep around between 1 and 2% is fine. So like I've got 1,284 words in this, which shows up down here. Now you don't need to do long posts, but I will tell you there's a couple of schools of thought. One is about consistency. One is about pleasing the search engines. Pleasing the search engines is much more difficult because Google loves 2,000 and above word blog posts. It's tougher to get ranked, to get organic traffic just by pleasing the search engines, because ultimately what you're after is really making the people happy, your audience, so they can read it, they're interested, there's value for them, and so that they're going to come back. And then if you get more people coming to your site, staying on your site, coming back to your site, and going through more pages, that's going to actually increase your score anyway. So you're going to win some points there. So I've got 1,284. I typically write between 1,200 and 1,600 word posts. I've got 1.1% keyword density, which is good. Anything that shows up in green means that you've gotten more positive. Now you don't have to shoot for all green here, because sometimes the keyword, for instance, it says here the page title contains keyword phrase, but it does not appear at the beginning. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to get as many points as possible, but if you try to only serve and please the search engines, then you're probably going to have a more difficult time writing unless you're a really technical, really super advanced, skilled writer. And I consider myself a good writer, but I'm out for pleasing the people with good value. The page title is more than 40 characters and less than the recommended 70 characters. So the idea is that you want to have it less than 70, so that because if it's too long, your title, then what will happen is Google will take your title and they could rearrange it. So that doesn't, and if you can try to avoid that, but see, once your site starts to get some traction, then you're writing for your audience. You're not writing for Google anymore, so that's okay, because it's your audience that's going to give you the pleasing points, and they're the ones that are buying your products, not Google. In the specified meta description, consider, okay, like if this is just always comes up and asks, could you possibly make it more appealing or interesting in your meta description? Use your primary keyword in your meta description, and here try not to use the focus keyword. Use alterations of it or rearrange it. So in other words, if I'm using entrepreneur mindset as my primary keyword, what I could actually do is over here underneath the tags, my primary and my 3 secondary keywords that I've chosen, I can take these and rearrange them. So entrepreneur mindset is the primary keyword this time. I could turn around and becoming an entrepreneur, I could make that my primary keyword the next time. So I don't, like looking for ideas for blog posts is not that difficult. So you're becoming an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur mindset becomes a secondary keyword. That's actually good for SEO, because now the more you're writing about similar types of concepts and ideas and focusing your blog and your posts, that's going to score points for Google, and it also keeps it congruent for your audience to keep coming back, so that you're not all over the place with different ideas. So all of these can be rearranged so that you can ultimately have 5 different blog posts, because you've got 4 different ideas that you can rearrange to get different keywords at the top. So that'll give you some ideas that you can create blog posts for on entrepreneurial skills, entrepreneurial ideas, entrepreneur mindset, becoming an entrepreneur. And when you do your Google keyword search, you're going to be able to come up with a lot more of them. So I'm going to go back up. As you can see, what I've done here, I've got entrepreneurial ideas as one of my headers. So that has become another H3, and now as you can see down here, now I'm shifting over to H4. I've gone in to YouTube because Google loves videos in your posts, and you can put links to other relevant sites. Like if I wanted to go and find a good article on a site, I go do a Google search on entrepreneurial ideas, and I could come up with a good article, and I'm going to copy and paste the URL for that article, and then at the bottom of this one, entrepreneurial ideas, of this paragraph, I could type in, if you want to read a great article on entrepreneurial ideas, click this link, and I'm going to embed that link from that article from another site, because Google likes the idea that what you're doing is you're recognizing that there's other people out there that are doing a great job talking about entrepreneurship, entrepreneurial ideas. Don't be afraid that people are going to click off your site because the link is on there and go read somebody else's site, and they'll be gone. They'll actually appreciate the fact that you've taken the time to find another interesting article related to this post, and you put the link in there for that article. And don't worry about that, because that's gonna score you points with your audience, and that's gonna score you points with the search engines. And the same thing goes for YouTube videos. I'm a big fan of Brendon Burchard, who this is. You can go find different posts by or YouTube videos by different people, by some of the gurus and by some of the leaders out there, and you can share those in here and embed those in here. And the ideas that I'm going to show you, I'm actually going to go over to the HTML code. So let's see if we can find that video. Okay, right here. What I've done is I've gone and grabbed the title, which is right here, and this is the share link for YouTube, which I've just copied and pasted, and I clicked it in under visual mode. Right now I'm in text mode, which shows you all the HTML. So that's going to embed that, and that actually is going to be very congruent with the article. It's going to be congruent with the value that I like to serve people, because I try to find a select group of people that I feel have good ethics, good principles, and are providing good value for people. And Brendon Burchard is definitely one of those people. He has hundreds and hundreds of videos that are all excellent on personal development, business development. You can go and grab these people's videos and post it into your site, and that's it's a win-win-win all the way around. Now here, another factor as far as scoring some points is making lists. Your blog posts can be a list of different things, and basically what I'm doing is I'm identifying a lot of the basic fundamentals that you need to work at to become a great entrepreneur, like to develop that entrepreneurial mindset. So when you make lists, people love lists because they're like, it is as highlights, as bullet points. I've gone through and I put at least 4 images in every blog post. So you can embed, and in this case there's 4 images along with the video, because people love images, and when you find the related images and the related videos, because I like to watch the videos and images as based on the popularity of Instagram and Pinterest nowadays, you'll see that that's become very, very popular. So embedding those into your blog posts is very, very important. And another thing that you can look at when you're signing off at the end, I just happened to use a tagline. I came up with one for this, like the theme of my personal blog, and we also have our business blog. But this one here is "Success is yours to discover, imagine." So like that's the tagline on my site, and you can put in the PS. And when you do that, what you want to type in, if you enjoyed this article or if you got value from this article on Entrepreneur Mindset. And what this does is you don't need to be telling people here, if you're asking them if you've got value on this article on Entrepreneur Mindset. Entrepreneur Mindset is your keyword, so you get to embed the keyword again in your article, and then you can leave your comments, and please feel free to share it. So I'm just telling people, if they want to, if they really enjoyed this and got value out of it, and I added the keyword again, so that's another point for the keyword. And just if they want to write their comments, because it's a subtle way of telling somebody what to do, and I'm asking them, please feel free to share it if they want to. And if you notice up here, I've got, this is another link. This is becoming an external link, and I'll show you down here in the page analysis. I've got one outbound link, like I was just making reference to another site that's going to be providing value for people. And I said, don't be afraid of giving that out to people. So what you're going to be looking at is how you can mainly provide value for people. This is ultimately what's going to bring people back. That's what they're looking for. Don't be a spammy marketer. Don't be throwing stuff in their face all the time about joining this opportunity or buying that. Make sure that you're doing the 80-20 rule, which is 80% of the time you're giving value, 20% of the time you can do your promotions. That's a what I call a success ratio, because it's worked out really, really well for the blog posts that I've been doing, and getting people to keep coming back. Like I have about 45% of the people return to my site, which tells me that they're enjoying the blog posts and I'm providing some value for them. Otherwise, that many people wouldn't be coming back all the time. So I'm actually just going to take you out, and I'm going to show you what that blog post looks like on the blog. I already went through the blog setup before, so as you can see the title here. I've got 14 comments on this one, and as you can see how everything appears, the images. This is the caption. I'm going to show you one other thing, or a couple other things, as far as embedding, especially when you're doing images. And it's just like it's well spaced out, so it's not congested, and it's got some lists in there. So the idea is that it's going to flow, and then of course I've got mine set up so that I've got it so that it's programmed to choose related posts down below. And as you can see, it's filed. It tells you the category down below here. And these are the tags, which are my keywords that when people type those into the search engines, this is where they're going to be directed. So as you get more and more traction, then you're going to be able to get more attention to your keywords. And that's also up above here too. Okay, you can see that it shows who's the author, which is in this case is myself, and this one was done on October the 26th. So now we're going to go back in, and I'm going to go in and show you what a blank page that when I start from scratch looks like. So over here on the left hand side in your dashboard, you got posts, all posts, and here I'm going to add new. So that's going to bring up, so I'm just going to show you quickly, okay, like when I start off with, okay, how I can pick a few things. So okay, you want to capitalize all the front of these words, all your major words. I'm just going to use the same one for example purposes here. You don't ever want to use exactly the same title, and that's like duplicate content on your site. So you type that in there. Remember, this is how I've started the blog post off, and then I'm going to go over. See, here's where it says Save Draft, right over here. So you click that, and this is what you're always going to click until you actually go to publish it. So you're going to publish Save Draft. And as you can see, the SEO comes up because there's nothing in here. There's nothing in the blog post. So it's going to start off red, goes to yellow, then orange, and then gradually works its way to green. See, we would change the category to business tips. When you have your recorded your 4 keywords, your primary and your secondary, and doesn't matter what order they're in, so you can take those and put them down as your tags. So what I'm going to do, just for example purposes, I'm going to click here to add media. So now I'm just going to change something. Okay, here, this. As you can see over here on the right hand side, it gives you the URL of the blog post. Your title is Entrepreneur Mindset, your caption, which is down below, and your alt text. And this is, see, if you notice that I'm using the primary keyword, so you want to go Entrepreneur Mindset, caption, keep those consistent. You don't need to put anything in the description. Here on display settings, because you can place it on the left and the center, as you can see here, left, center, or the right. So I just leave it in the center. Your media file, if you ever want to embed another image or another link inside the images that you're putting, then you can actually put it in here. And I'm just going to show you. So I've got the alt text that's in, because that's something that will give you SEO points. So here I'm going to insert that into the post, and you can see it's going to come up here. So the alt tag and everything is embedded into it. I'll show you that. As you can see, the caption, it's been aligned center, Entrepreneur Mindset, and the alt text is right here, Entrepreneur Mindset, and the caption is Entrepreneur Mindset. You can go in and edit this afterwards if for some reason that you've made a mistake, or if you want to put it to the left or right inside on the writing. So that's like however you want to adjust it. It doesn't really matter. Just try to change it up. Don't always just put it in the same place all the time. Like I try to put mine on the left hand side in the paragraphs, in the center, sometimes to the right, and then what'll happen is the writing will it'll embed it into it, and it'll put the writing around it. So we're just going to eliminate that. That shows you everything you need to see there. I'm going to delete that out. and that shows you pretty much everything that you need to know to get started. We won't get into, oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention is down below here it says featured image. It says set featured image. So what's going to happen is you're going to click on one of the images that you saved, and it'll bring it back up, all the images that you have, and you're going to select one of them as the primary image that's going to appear on your blog post. And if you go to share it in other places on social media that I'll be talking about later on, about when it comes to promotion, how to do promotion on your site, you click on set featured image. It brings up the image that you've selected, and when you go to share it, that's going to be the image that's going to appear everywhere, providing that it's exactly the same size, because social media has a demand for a certain size. So this basically gives you a good idea how to start with your blog post, and don't worry about being perfect at the beginning, because nobody is perfect. And as a matter of fact, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to show you a really old blog post that I did a long time ago. Well, for me it's going back, I believe, for 5 or 6 years. Let's take a look at this one. That's in 2009. So bring it up. Okay, here's an idea of a blog post. 696 words. Look at the way I wrote it. Now I'm going to go in and repurpose this, which means I'll alter how the paragraph appears. Never ever, because once it's been indexed here, the permalink up here, never change that, because you will get de-indexing points. So never change that. Once that title is set, just leave it as it is. So never ever go back and change the permalink, because once it gets indexed by the search engines, you don't change that. See, I don't even have an H2. I don't even have a title. And look at it. All the titles are all the same. The writing is all congested together. So I haven't even gone back in to repurpose this and change it, because I've got almost 270 blog posts in here. So I've got to go back and I'll change this to make it look more readable and more presentable. But it's buried so far back in a lot of the blog posts, most people. And look at the number of tags. Usually only put like 4 tags in. I did give a title and an image, but if you take a look at it, let's take a look here. I didn't choose a focus keyword. I don't even have a meta description. So look at all the mistakes that I was making back at the beginning. So don't worry about how perfect it is at the beginning, because everybody needs to start somewhere. And as you can see, the difference between this blog post and the most current one, and it accelerates even faster. You get better and better at it all the time. Page analysis. See, I didn't even choose a focus keyword, so it doesn't even give me a score. It's like it's that bad. So that's okay, and I keep this for example purposes and a few other things, so I can show people and just say, you know what, my stuff wasn't so great either at the beginning. So it's not I don't, like, I get contact me. I just like I don't even have like no proper. I got one image, or yeah, there's one image in here. There's no videos. There's no nothing. And so as you can see, it takes time, and you just learn and apply and learn and apply as you go along, and that's all you really need to do. And that's the important thing is that you do the best job you can now. You try to follow the strategies, because I didn't have anybody to follow back then. The instructions that I gave you is like light years ahead of where I was, because I didn't have any mentors. I didn't have anybody to follow. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got some value out of that, and it's a great place to start. And then as we produce some more and more videos in the blogging section, I will give you some of the intermediate and more advanced strategies. So I look forward to seeing you on the next video.